Hi, Professor Baker. This is Gia Shockey, and I'm going to demonstrate how I would stain use a negative stain. First, I would start with gloved hands and my hair pulled back and long sleeves or a lab coat and goggles. I would clean my sterile workplace with a 10% bleach solution. Then once my workspace and I am ready to go, I would start the procedure. So I would have my auger plate filled 5 millimeters of auger completely cooled. And I would have sterilely swabbed, say, the kitchen sink, and prepared my auger plate with that. I keep my slides or my petri dishes in the fridge or in the microwave, and I have them covered with parafilm to not have any cross-contamination. So I would remove the parafilm after storing it upside down for a few days, which would allow the colonies to grow, and have that ready. Then I would take my metal inoculation loop, dip it in the alcohols, and so I would dip it in the alcohol, light the candle, and move it back and forth to sterilize the inoculation loop. Back up. Before I would do that, I would add the nigrosin, a couple drops to one sterile slide, a couple drops on one side. Then I would do the sterilization of the loop. Alcohol a couple times over the flame. I would go into my petri dish and gently scrape a few of the one of the colonies off, trying to isolate one colony. And on the side where I added the nigrosin, I would gently stir the colony into the solution to make a little puddle of it. Once it is in the puddle, I would angle the slide at 45 degrees and slide across the slide. Throw the other side away after bleaching it. Then I would let the slide with the smear of the nigrosin and the colony dry for 10 minutes. So it's completely dry. Then after it is completely dry is when I would use my microscope to view it. Make sure it's plugged in and everything. I don't think we have to demonstrate how to view it underneath the light microscope, but that's how I would prepare a slide. Don't turn it off yet, Brian. So a couple things about the principle. Negative slides or negative stain like nigrosin is negatively charged, which the outer membrane of a cell is also negatively charged, so they repel each other. So when you're using a negative dye, it stains the background and it highlights the shape of the cell. You use this when you're trying to see shape. Sorry, my dog's walking around. You use this when you want to see shape, or if you have living organisms that you don't want, say a crystal violet dye or a decolorizer to tamper with the inner workings of the cell. When I'm finished with the experiment, I will put a 10% bleach solution, wipe down my surfaces. I typically, after I've bleached, I put it in its own bag and take it directly to the dumpster. Just make sure I didn't forget anything. Oh, there's no heat fixation with the slides, because oftentimes the samples are living and you don't need to heat treat the slides. And I think that's it. Have a good week.